All right, welcome back and thanks for tuning in again. So today we're finally going to get back to working on this Roiline 884 cubic inch V8 generator set. It's actually an Onan generator with a Roiline engine. So I think we left off on this thing back in the summertime, really. It's the end of October now. So what I want to do today is check the torque on the cylinder head studs or cylinder head bolts. I want to reinstall the valve lifters or the cam followers, put the push rods back in, readjust the valves, get the valve covers on, and get the valley plate installed, and maybe even the manifolds. So I don't think we're going to get it running today because I don't know if you can hear, but it's raining pretty good outside, so it's not a very nice day. But luckily we're dry in here, got good lighting, and we're ready to get to work. All right, let's get it. All right, so the first order of business is going to be retorquing these nuts for the head studs here. You know, and I think I shouldn't use the word retorque, because I think retorquing implies that we're going to first loosen them and then retorque them, and we're not doing that. All I'm doing is setting the torque wrench to, what do we got? For 5/8 studs, it calls for 179 to 183 foot-pounds. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set it to about 182 or so foot-pounds, and we're just going to go along and check in the correct order and verify that they're all at least that tight. I don't like loosening head bolts if I'm not taking the head off. I don't like loosening then retorquing. I would rather just check the tightness and then leave them alone. So I've got myself a little picture here of the order for which I got to torque them. So let's get to it. It's a pretty tight process. Oh, that one was pretty loose. Three. 4, 5, oop, 6, microphone wire. Let's see, where's 7? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so we only had 1 or 2 that were a little bit loose. I think these 2 are actually step number 2. Interestingly enough, in the manual, it goes 1 and then 2. So this one was a little bit loose. So let's head over to the other side and take care of those. Okay, same deal. Make sure we don't have anything that's excessively loose. Seven. Oh, this is 7. 8. 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That one felt like it budged a little bit. And 16. Okay, so out of 32 head studs, we only had one that was really a little bit loose. So that's done. Let's go ahead and we'll put the cam followers back in. Okay, well, we're ready to put these cam followers in. We're going to do the left bank first. Just going to put a little bit of oil in each lifter bore. Try to get some down on the cam itself. Okay, and we'll give each lifter a little wipe down before it goes in. These have already been cleaned, so we're just gonna pop them on in there. Number 1 exhaust, number 1 intake is next. Okay, we'll do the same operation for the right bank. Okay, so we'll start with number 2's exhaust. If you remember, we had one bad lifter that the cam had started to wear a spot in. And I broke down and took that one and another one actually to be reground at a local shop down here in South Jersey. And it took them a while. They kind of hemmed and hawed about it. But eventually they ground it. I don't know exactly how they ground it. I don't know if they put the crown on it or the little convex feature, but it came back nice, so better than it was, I guess. Can you see that? That's the reground lifter. You can kind of see like the circular grind, and then in the center there's like a parallel grind. I don't know. That was number 6 exhaust. Okay, well, it's time to adjust our valve clearance. So I'm following the instructions in the service manual for this engine, which recommends that you pretty much just follow the firing order of the engine. So bring each cylinder to top dead center on the compression stroke in sequence. And then when it is at top dead center, you adjust the intake and the exhaust valves on that cylinder. So we've already done 1, 8, and 7. The next cylinder is 3. So go ahead, I got this little tool here which you thread into the spark plug hole, and it's spring loaded so that it hits the top of the piston and you can see when the piston's coming up. Just thread that in. I got a ratchet in here on a turning tool, and we'll turn the engine in the direction it runs until we see that little plunger come out. There it is. And we'll keep going until it stops. Alright, looks like it's about as far as it's going to go, and it's just starting to go back down. So I'll pull it out, and we know that number 3 here is at top dead center. So we got our intake valve setting is 16 thousandths. It's a little on the snug side yet. So there's a specified adjustment range, I should say. So for the intake, it is, let's see, it is 15 to 17 thousandths. So we're right in the center at 16 there. So if it's got a little bit of drag on it, I would say that's about right. There we go. And the exhaust range is 20 to 22 thousandths, and we got 21 here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put a paint mark on those adjustments that say that they're done. There's no listed torque for the lock nuts on the adjustments, which I was kind of surprised. Most industrial engines will list a torque value for those, but there was not one listed. So what do we got? We got 4 more cylinders to do. Let's get them done. Okay, so you're actually watching that that little plunger tool for me, because I can't see it from this side of the engine. I'm watching it in the camera's display screen. Oh, is it moving? I think I see it moving. Looks like that's about it. So we're about top dead center there. Let me come on around. Get you out of my way here for a second. Okay. Pop that little plunger out of there. And we'll go ahead and adjust these. So we got intake here. Do that first. So what I'm going to do is tighten this until I see it start to actuate the valve. Work it around a little bit to kind of press any oil out of the push rod cup or the lifter. Probably not too critical. I'll bring it up to where it's snug. Okay, and the exhaust. That's a little habit that I get from working on Cummins engines. When you're adjusting injectors, they always want you to bottom out the injector plunger to a certain torque value, then back it off and then retorque it to press any oil or fuel out of the seat. That nut's a little stiff on there. When the big Cummins LP engine gets here, we'll be going through that procedure. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, let's move along. All right, well, I'm setting the rocker covers on, and I'm just going to go ahead and give a little bit of final lubrication to these rocker arms before I button them up. Put some there. So I got the new gasket on the rocker covers, big cork gasket. So what I did was put little blobs of silicone here, 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 and 3 along here. Just little blobs about 3/4 of an inch long, just to keep the gasket in place. I'm not going to put any kind of sealant on the surface that meets up with the cylinder head. Just in case these ever have to be removed in the future, they can just be popped off, and the gasket should stay on the cover. So I'm going to go ahead and set those on and bolt them down, and then I think we're ready to put the valley plate on. Okay, well, before we put that valley plate on, we've got to do something about this boss right here that originally held the governor drive. So this is what I came up with. I machined this aluminum slug, put a through hole in it for a bolt, and put 2 O-ring grooves in it. So that's going to sit right in that hole like that and be retained with this fender washer so it can't pop back out. And the nut here is like a mechanical type lock nut. It's got the 1, 2, 3 little dents in it to kind of deform the thread so it grips onto the bolt. So let's go ahead and put that in. Zoom you in here. You can see the operation. Should just pop right on in there. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the O-ring because it's a pretty snug fit. 1 second here. Okay. Okay. Definitely don't drop that nut down there. Of course, it wouldn't be the end of the world because the oil pan's got to come off again. So you can put the oil pump back on. There you go. No more mechanical governor. All right, let's put the valley plates on. Well, the brakes got put on this video real quick. So I went to set the new gasket on and discovered that it's the wrong gasket. So this must be for, I think, the smaller version of this engine, which is the H884 maybe. Obviously it would have been a little bit shorter because the front bolts line up and it lines up with the dowels and the casting, everything's correct, you know, from this point up. But from this point back, it's 3 inches too short. And I don't have a piece of gasket paper large enough to make this myself. I could make it multi-piece, I guess. Cut this. Oops, sorry, cut it here and you know, make strips. But I don't even think I have enough gasket of this thickness. The stuff that I have, see, that's, I don't know what that is. It's 1/32 maybe, something like that. The stuff that I have in abundance is this stuff that we used on the Witty generator, and that's about twice the thickness. So I couldn't even use this to make up the remainder of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and order a big sheet of gasket paper, and we'll pick this video back up once I make my own gasket. So thanks for watching. Sorry for the cliffhanger.